Market players are following the news of President Trump's health and renewed prospects for major federal spending to boost the pandemic-battered economy.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Avalara, simplifying sales tax compliance with cloud-based solutions. Avalara automatically integrates with more than 700 of the most widely used ERP and e-commerce solutions. Avalara, tax compliance done right. And by X-Chair Office Chair, dynamic variable lumbar support and 10 ergonomic features for maximum support and comfort at xchair.com or 8444-X-Chair.
I'm David Brancaccio. Good morning. As so many wait for signs of progress on a new coronavirus relief package from Washington, airlines are furloughing about 30,000 employees. Congressional leaders in the White House are pressing for a deal with President Trump sick with COVID-19. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer reports.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says Congress is, in her words, making progress on another coronavirus relief bill, and she asked the airlines to avoid more furloughs or layoffs.
Don't fire people. You know that relief is on the way, and it will be retroactive. So let's keep them employed.
Pelosi spoke yesterday on CBS. She issued a statement Friday saying the House would either enact a standalone bill for airlines or fold airline aid into an overall relief package, but that separate bill was blocked on the House floor. Airlines started furloughing workers after a provision in the last relief bill, giving them aid if they kept their employees, expired October 1st. President Trump called on Congress to pass a bill in a tweet over the weekend from the hospital, saying they should, quote, work together and get it done. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are each up 0.7%. Crude oil has spiked 4% in New York, still under $39 a barrel. The Regal chain of movie theaters in the U.S. is closing up all 543 of its venues. The word is temporarily, but there are no plans to reopen soon, given COVID. Regal's parent company, Cineworld, is also doing the same in Britain. A combined 45,000 jobs are now permanently at risk. Here's the BBC's Dominic O'Connell on a downward spiral in the movie business.
The company said that pandemic-related restrictions meant screens had to stay closed in key US markets, in particular New York. This meant that studios were reluctant to release new films. The debut of the new James Bond film, No Time to Die, was postponed for a second time last week. This had left Cineworld without the strong commercial films necessary for people to consider coming back to theatres against the backdrop of COVID-19. It did not give a date for when its cinemas were likely to reopen.
Dominic O'Connell is with our editorial partner, the BBC.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Noom, providing an online evaluation and the tools to help people lead healthier lives through behavior change. More information at Noom, Noom.com. And by TD Ameritrade. You can get smart with your investing with customizable tools and education designed just for you at TD Ameritrade, where smart investors get smarter. And by Kronos, providing HR solutions for the modern workforce and the people who support them. Learn more at Kronos.com.
Now to less developed and middle-income countries that don't have the cash at the ready to line up coronavirus vaccine if and when safe and effective ones get approved. The World Bank has now gone to its board for final approval for billions of dollars to help countries lock in vaccine contracts. It's about how money talks when it comes to securing something in high demand. Just one of the many hurdles that have to be surmounted in distributing vaccines everywhere on Earth. I spoke to the president of the World Bank, David Malpass. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, David. Nice to be on.
So this request for $12 billion, what is the problem that money would try to fix?
The developing countries, and especially the poorest ones, simply don't have resources to put in a marker. And so up to $12 billion is a signal to the pharmaceutical manufacturers that there's going to be a big demand and that there's financing for it, and that the countries will be looking for a safe vaccine. And so it fills that void that would otherwise be there.
Now this is, let me try an analogy on you. I hope it's not crass. It's a bit like when people are bidding on a new home. People with cash in hand might find their bid more likely to be accepted. The World Bank is trying to give countries the money to be able to be taken seriously when it comes to getting their dibs in for these vaccines.
That's right. To be clear, the financing wouldn't move to the country until they've established what it is they want to buy and from whom. Countries will be explaining and thinking through the actual vaccination program that they're going to have. That might involve refrigeration, for example. But unless there's some credibility in the money available to them, then the manufacturers might not think that audience is as important as somebody in an advanced economy.
Almost tugging in the other direction, though, is this challenge of what some call vaccine nationalism. Richer countries will serve their own populations first, especially countries that invested in the creation of the vaccines. Yet, as you point out, well, a different way of saying what you just said is that public health experts keep telling us that no one is really safe from coronavirus unless everyone, everywhere, is safe.
I think there's going to be, different parts of that point that you're making. In India, they have very good manufacturing capabilities, and China also has capabilities, and Europe and North America, Japan have capabilities. And so some large parts of the global population will, to an extent, be able to take care of people in their countries and then have some left over. That's what we're trying to seek with market buying capacity. I think it won't take that big a price to get manufacturers to say, yeah, we can make extra, and if it goes to a good cause, we're for it.
David Malpass is president of the World Bank. You may also remember him as former Undersecretary of the Treasury for International Affairs earlier in the Trump administration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
If we get a coronavirus vaccine, another Manhattan project is getting it to people. Distribution involves colossal logistical and fairness issues, which we're covering here on the Marketplace Morning Report from multiple angles. Fast Track, the grand challenge of vaccinating the world against COVID-19. Marketplace.org has a link if you're interested in further stuff. Teachers and professors, it may be a resource for maybe your classes as well. I'm David Brancaccio. This is the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.
Support for WNYC comes from your part-time controller, specializing in nonprofit accounting. Your part-time controller helps nonprofit organizations with all of their accounting needs. More information at yourparttimecontroller.com.
This is WNYC New York. The BBC News Hour is next on 93.9 FM. It's The Takeaway next on AM 820. And later on the Brian Lehrer Show, we'll look at the start of the Supreme Court's October argument session. Jamie Floyd, senior editor for Race and Justice at WNYC, previews some of the upcoming cases, plus the latest on the president's COVID diagnosis with AP White House reporter Jonathan Lemire. That's all coming up this morning at 10 o'clock here on WNYC. 55 degrees now, going up to a high of 67 today. It's 9 o'clock.
This is WNYC, FM, HD, and AM New York.
Welcome to NewsHour from the BBC World Service. I'm Razia Iqbal. President Trump has spent a third night in hospital being treated for coronavirus. Over 9 months, there have been more than 7 million infections in the US and more than 200,000 deaths. Mr. Trump